Hi, my name's Lee Weatherburn. I work for a company called Coakley who deliver services to North Tyneside Council. In October of this year, 2014, we went live with the first release of a new website. The following slides will run you through some of those developments and share with you what we've been up to. So just as some background, where was the council website? It was built on old and unsupported technology, which really limited how we could further develop and improve the site. The appearance was often cluttered and very difficult to navigate. Content was not well managed, it was out of date and often inaccurate. Our search engine was developed in-house and delivered in the main unreliable results. We didn't have many statistics and analytics that we could look into to help shape the future development of the site. And in general, usage of the site was increasing as you'd expect, month on month, year by year, more and more visitors and traffic coming to the site. This is an example of the screenshot earlier in the year, and I'm about to show a couple of examples of some of the sub-pages from the previous design of the website. As you can see from the last two slides, lots of links, lots of ways of bouncing you around the site, and generally, lots of confusion for the user. At the beginning of this year, we started a consultation on the new site and on the development. We met with residents, with young people and old, with members, with colleagues in the council and senior leaders within the authority. And consistently, the following bullet points are what came out of those consultation and where that would lead us in terms of developing the site. So the key one was that we would have a powerful search facility moving forward, that pages and the navigation as a whole will be clear and obvious. Screens will be uncluttered. The most popular tasks that people get in touch with the council would be accessible from the home page. The content itself would be clear, concise, and not be full of technical jargon. And finally, that the whole site would be mobile friendly, so it would display equally as well, be it on a desktop, a laptop, an iPad, or a mobile device. Before we embarked on the development, we set ourselves as a team some guiding principles there. I shall run through those. Design will be around the user and not the organisation, which was certainly something we were guilty of previously. As I've mentioned, content will be concise and we took a less is more approach. We've also decided if somebody else does it, then we should link to it. It saves a lot of duplication of information on our site where we would present information for people to read and then point them to another site where it was held anyway. We will only be using imagery when it has a real purpose, instead of just using it to add some interest or decoration to a page. Where we use external links, they'll be well considered, and before clicking on one, a user will know exactly where they're going and why we're suggesting that they visit that external website. As mentioned previously, the design will not be for a computer screen. The content and all of it must be responsive. Popular content will be more prominent, and that will be constantly fed by usage and visitor data, for example, from the call centre and the feedback. Similarly, on the last note, feedback will be encouraged on, so the site will be constantly evolving, changing and improving. Just to summarise before displaying some screenshots of the new site, some of the key developments. First one is that we redeveloped the site in Drupal, which is an open source CMS platform. Again, as mentioned previously, now the site is fully responsive. We improved the category structure and the overall taxonomy, and I've got some examples later to show you how we dealt with that. We've procured an external search engine. We also have an automatic backup and failover implemented with the site. So every morning the site takes a copy of itself at 5 a.m. and we're still working on this, but in the future, if the server went down or the site went down, it would automatically bounce over to the previous site, which is in the main no more than 24 hours out of date. We've got a lot more access to stats and analytics, which can help shape further development. We've got a lot more information that's being presented rather than just text on pages. It's geographic, so we're plotting facilities and information on maps. And finally, we made better use of social media and integrating that into this new site. So this first screenshot is an example of the new homepage. As you can see, we've got a new search box prominent, the new taxonomy at the top, which I'll show you in a second, and popular tasks in the main 9 blocks there you'll see on the home page. So I have a couple of examples there. If we're moving across the tabs at the top, we've got business and council landing page, which again, similar to the main home page, have the popular tasks brought to the fore. We have the ability, the final tab across the top there is to log into some personalized information. So if you enter your postcode and then your house number, it then will give you certain information relating to your specific street or address. If you wanted to look for some more generic but similar information via ward, you've got the option below to pull down on the drop down menu and select where you live or where you're interested in. So this is an example of the Minor Tyneside area and the local information. So I work around the page at the top right, it clarifies your address, it then tells you which ward you're in, and below that your local councillors. It also tells you your council tax band. Then moving to the left, your bin collection days and special collections. And then the final main piece on the page is the access to the geographic information. So at the moment we've got 10 different items or facilities plotted on the map. One of the key ones there is the ability to view local planning applications. And we've created something to pull that from our application database and bring it all together into one place so you can see the information that's really important to you and pertinent to your local area. As I mentioned earlier, we've invested in an external search engine. Got a few screenshots to demonstrate how that works. The first and most prominent feature is that we have a predictive search function. So there's 2 examples on this page where I've started to type a couple of different terms, and you can see the results there it's delivering are exactly what we'd hope and expect it to. We also have the ability to include what we call best bets. So there'll be certain terms that people will search on the website that may not everybody would use the same term. So for example, the example I've given there is if you search values, it also brings up the council plan. Another more obvious example would be in certain areas you would call bins either rubbish or refuse or recycling. So again, we've added all those terms and hopefully it should bring the same information. Moving on to some specific examples of sub-pages on the site. These particular ones for our leisure centres, where we've got 5 main leisure centres in the area, and we've also got a dedicated health and fitness program called Contours. Another feature on this page is the alerts function. So at every page on the site, we've got the option to add this box and really highlight important news. The obvious example given here is different closing and opening times of the leisure centres during the Christmas period. Clicking onto one of the leisure centres is an example of a facility page in the specific leisure centre. Again, moving around the page, you've got the obvious information of contact details and how to find the centre. You then got further information to the right to dedicate and specific information about the facilities within that centre, e.g. swimming pool, the gym, the sports hall. And also the opportunity to highlight some of the key areas which we think would be of interest. Moving further down the page, we've got a share this page feature, so you could share this with your friends, colleagues or peers if you thought they'd be interested in the information held on this page. That feature runs throughout the site. We've also pulled in the leisure centre Twitter feed, which is a great example if one of the classes was cancelled, 7 o'clock at night, the web team weren't necessarily around, or it would take longer to log onto the system. A quick tweet via a mobile phone would have that information straight there on that page. And finally on the page, we've pulled in a nice image gallery there to demonstrate what facilities are at that particular centre. Another example, just looking specifically at some of the page layouts and the new improved look and feel. We've got a feature on the site which is in the box there underneath the title, which we call a chapter feature, which allows the user to click on one of those links and it jumps them down to the page to the specific piece of information they want. On the previous site, you would find yourself jumping backwards and forwards between certain pages, and often these pages would be very long. So again, another feature at the bottom there is the introduction of accordions, so quick sort of FAQs is where that comes in handy. You can see the information you're looking for and then click on it to expand it and read the extra detail that you may be looking for. Just moving on to some statistics I mentioned earlier about we've got a whole new suite of information about the site which will help shape future development. One of the key figures that came out after the first month of the site being live is that we've nearly got half of the visitors to the site are actually accessing the website via a mobile device, be it a tablet or a mobile phone. Out of those users, 2/3 are from Apple iOS devices. And a more headline fact that compared to the same period last year, there's 18% more traffic visiting the site. This slide further demonstrates some of the insight that we're getting which help shape future development. On the left hand side in the purple, they're the most popular pages visited on the site, and on the right hand side are the most popular search terms. So as I say, these will really be useful to help us shape the site, shape what information is brought to the fore on the home page or certain sections of the site. And finally, I mentioned earlier the share this page feature, and in the first week of going live we had 78 users actually share a piece of content from a particular page via social media or email. Thank you for your time.